Hi, I'm Les Moreland. I'm the current commander, AMVETS Post 2006 here in Leesburg, Florida. And we're a proud sponsor of Central Florida Salute on the YouTube channel. I'd like to have you check us out on our Facebook page or whatever. Our address is 500 North Canal Street in Leesburg, Florida. To all you veterans out there, come by and see us. We salute you for your service and thank you very much.
Central Florida Salute YouTube. I'm your host, Bob Peters. Once again, coming to you from Okahumpka, Eagles 4273. And I have a Coastie, Dave Taylor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. And Dave, you're going to tell me about the Coast Guard. And I've got some pictures here that we're going to talk about a little bit later. But tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from originally?
Sumter County, Florida.
You're a cracker.
Yes, sir. My dad was a dairy farmer in Coleman.
Uh-huh.
So I grew up right here in Sumter County, went to Wildwood High School.
You know, I do a lot of shows, but I don't get a lot of Coasties. That's the correct term, right, Coastie?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I remember when I was a kid, because there was Vietnam going on, and there was either Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. I never even saw a Coast Guard recruiting place. Where do they recruit? Where did you get recruited from?
I found it in Fort Lauderdale. I was working down in Miami repairing banking equipment, and it was one of those days I was fed up with my job, and I found a recruiter, and I walked in, passed all the tests, passed the physical, signed a paper, and went to boot camp on Monday.
Wow.
Called my boss, told him where his truck was, come get it.
That must have made him happy.
He wasn't very happy.
No. So listen, where does one go once they enlist?
Cape May, New Jersey. And I went in February, so my plane was supposed to leave Miami on Sunday, and it didn't leave until Tuesday because Pennsylvania was snowed in. So I was 2 days late getting to boot camp, and it was my fault.
Always is.
Always is.
Always is.
So I started out on the wrong foot as soon as I got there.
And I can imagine you being a native Floridian and seeing this white stuff going, what is this?
As soon as we touched down in Pennsylvania, the jet slid totally off the runway into a snowbank. They had to go get the big front end loaders to dig the jet out to pull us up to the gate where we could be so we could get off the jet. It crashed as soon as we landed.
And I bet you're wondering why you said yes.
At the time I was. Then when I got out of boot camp, I got on a jet to go back to Orlando. As it circled Orlando, lightning struck the engine. We went down in a ball of flames, landing on the airport. So God warned me twice, I ain't getting on another jet. Just like you're not swimming.
I'm not getting on one of them ships either.
So I'm not getting on another jet.
Yeah, well, how many years did you do?
I did 8, 4 years active and 4 years inactive.
And where did you go and what did you do?
I spent 2 years on the Coast Guard cutter Harriet Lane out of Portsmouth, Virginia. And then I spent 2.5 years working for Presidential Security in Kennebunkport, Maine. And we were stationed in Newcastle, New Hampshire.
Yeah, you were telling me something about the water level of the beaches or something there.
Up in Maine, there's only like 17 miles of beach from Rhode Island to Canada. So there's nothing but big granite boulders, and the water's 500 foot deep, right there where the edge of the water is.
Wow.
There's no beaches or anything, and the water warms up in the summer to 42 degrees.
Warms up. You brought along some stuff, which I'm going to hold up here. You want to tell us what this is?
Those are pictures of the Coast Guard cutter Harriet Lane. The one up in the top right-hand corner was the first Harriet Lane. And it's actually fired the first shot from a naval vessel in the Civil War. It fought for both sides of the Civil War because halfway through the South had captured it, armed it with guns, and used it against the North because they thought it was their supply ship. So they could run it up and down, and the North was looking for it, and they used it to shoot the North up. The second one was a 95-footer, but it got sunk by rum runners off the coast of Virginia, and that's the 270-foot Coast Guard cutter Harriet Lane that's still in service.
Still in service?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
And I was on it in '87, and she was 3 years old.
Now, you brought up another photo here. Is that the same ship we're
That
talking
is
about?
the Coast Guard cutter Harriet Lane. It's 270 feet long.
Yeah, and then you can...
It's actually got a flight deck. It's got a helicopter hangar on it.
The helicopter, right?
Yes, sir. And it's actually got a retractable hangar that if the helicopter breaks down, they can take and put it over the helicopter and work on it and actually be dry or whatever.
Wow. How big is that again?
270 feet.
270
We actually
feet.
carried fuel for the helicopter plus diesel and everything else. So the helicopter, we would get on station, the helicopter would fly out from Miami and spend the entire time we were out there on the boat. We could fuel it, land it, do everything we needed to do.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people don't know much about the Coast Guard, the Coast Guard. But they do, they guard the coast, right? Yeah. But that's not necessarily true.
No, sir.
Tell us about some of your assignments, and tell me more about the Coast Guard so the young people watching this will learn.
When we were down with the Harriet Lane in the Caribbean Sea, we were doing search and rescue. We did illegal aliens, which picking up people that were trying to get to Florida. We did drug interdiction. And we also worked with the Navy doing war games. But most of the things that we did that got to me was the Haitian boats, when you would pull over a 35-foot boat and take 450 people off of it.
You take 450 people off this boat and put them on your boat?
Yes, sir. We would separate.
It's kind of crowded, isn't it?
We would separate the females from the males, put the females up on the flight deck, the males down on the bottom. We had to feed them, take care of them till we could take them back to Haiti.
These are people trying to come into the country on
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Most that's where a lot of them come from, the boats.
Yes, sir. We actually found 12 people floating on a 55 Chevy in the middle of the ocean.
Floating on a
55 Chevy.
How does a 55 Chevy float?
They shoved it full of inner tubes, and then they pushed the car out in the water, and they all strapped themselves to it.
Wow.
The scary thing is they said they started out with 25, and we only found 12.
Wow, that's sad.
Yes.
That's sad. But, that's how desperate people are to come to this country, because we are the greatest country in the world. And, there's a lot of what's going on in these other countries with the criminals and stuff.
Actually, Cuba was sending their criminals to us. They were emptying their prisons and sending
Yeah, I
them.
remember that. Yeah,
Yes,
that
sir.
was back in the 60s or something, right?
It
70s?
was in the 80s.
Was the 80s?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I'm getting older, So I got a couple pictures here that it's kind of hard for them to see, but we're gonna make it easier for people to see. This was a rescue mission, was it not?
Yes, sir. We were out to rescue a sailboat. He was told to put into port, but he decided he could sail through the hurricane. And needless to say, we were on a 270-foot vessel, and it was dropping us 50 feet. That's how rough the seas were. The boat would just totally be dropped 50 feet. And then we'd clutch everything back in to climb the next waves, because as soon as the props broke free, the engines declutched. So we're in the engine room trying to clutch everything back in to climb the next wave to get to them.
Wow.
We were out probably 50, 60-foot seas. We had 120-mile-an-hour winds, and we're trying to rescue people that decided to sail through the hurricane.
I can imagine what you say to that person that tried to sail through the hurricane after you got them aboard ship.
We rescued the dog, too, so we were all happy.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you did 4 years active, and like I said, a lot of people think Coast Guard. Well, they think they only, you don't go up anywhere. But you were, where were you?
I was all over the Caribbean Sea. We put into quite a few ports down there, St. Thomas, St. Croix, Puerto Rico, spent a lot of time in Cuba, fueling up our boat, taking up supplies. Nicaragua, we've been over around in there. So, and then I spent my last 2.5 years up in Kennebunkport, Maine, working with the Secret Service. So,
What did you do there, or is it a secret?
we set up a perimeter of about a mile around the president's house, and we weren't allowed to allow anybody into that perimeter. And the people that had lobster traps had to get special licenses, and they had special times that they could go in and out to do their traps, so that we could work with the fishermen.
Yeah.
So,
Listen, did you have any? Was this the hairiest situation you were in with the sailboat, or was there any other?
when we were
days
working
you
for the
went-
president, we caught one guy that was trying to get in to blow up the president. And we caught him. He was a super nice guy, but his boat was loaded with explosives and everything. So they took him in the boat to the mothership, and we never saw him again. So,
Wow. So you did 4 years active
yes, sir.
and 4 years inactive, right?
Yes, sir.
So when you are inactive in the Coast Guard and you're in Florida, what do you do?
Work your full-time job. If they need you, they call you back up.
You have to go like
You
somewhere
check in
once a month, or
no, sir. You check in when you get to your residence, and they write down where you're at, your phone numbers, and then you just work your full-time job. They called me one time to do. The Secret Service called me. It wasn't the Coast Guard. They had something going on at the Miami airport, and had me go down there and stand by a door. That's a tough job.
Yeah, well,
Hey, they gave me a gun, so.
somebody got to do it. Yeah.
The Coast Guard is under the Department of Transportation and not the Department of Defense.
Yeah, I know that. A lot of people don't know that.
No, they don't, and the reason it is because the Coast Guard can do law enforcement on U.S. soil, and the other four militaries cannot. They have to have an act of Congress to be able to do any law enforcement on U.S. soil.
So are you in the VA? You're in the VA system too, right?
Yes, sir.
The Coast Guard is under the VA system.
Yes,
too.
sir.
Yeah.
I get a lot of flack about it from the VA, but we're still there.
Oh, no, you deserve it.
Well, the
Anybody
VA
goes out on a ship like this with 50-foot waves, you deserve it. Because I look at this, I get seasick. You know, I'm one of those who'd rather be in an airplane. I know you'd rather be on a boat or a cutter, as they call them.
Coast
Right?
Guard cutter.
Cutter.
Now, our small boats are labeled small boats.
Yeah.
But the bigger, I think they start at a 110. They get up to calling them a cutter.
How big is the biggest Coast Guard?
The last
idea?
I knew, it was 378, but I think they've got bigger ones. Some of the icebreakers were 400s.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They got to do the icebreakers, too.
Yes, sir.
Did you volunteer for that?
Yes, I did, but they sent me up to Maine. You know, it makes a lot of sense. The guy's from Florida, so send him to Maine.
Yeah. Some things never change.
No.
Listen, Dave, I met you over at the 1410 to Q radio station. You're a good friend of James, and I go there with James and Colonel Rick Basinger every week. In fact, I'm going to leave here and go right over there. But, you know, he likes you a lot. You guys are good friends. When I met you over there, they were looking about, there's what they call a virtual flight,
Yes, sir.
the honor flight.
Yes, sir.
It is for men and women who cannot board a plane, can't get up to Washington, so they have a program. And you volunteered to be in uniform. I think we have a picture of that.
Yes, sir.
Where you greeted the veterans when they got off the bus and spent some time with them. You want to talk a little bit about that? And what it was special to you, wasn't it?
It was such an honor that it almost brought me to tears to sit and watch the virtual tour. It was, the guy was explaining the flight like he was actually on the jet. About halfway through the jet ride, they suddenly say it's lunchtime. Everybody gets a box lunch, just like you're on the plane. And then they put them on the bus. They showed the bus going through town with the policeman knocking on people's windows, telling them to get out of the way. It was just so impressive. And then they went to the different memorials. And just to read what's wrote on the memorials and understand what they stand for. And there's so many people that's forgotten what people have died for in this country.
Yeah, we don't teach a lot. That's one reason we do this show, my partner and I, we do this show. We want to educate young people about the sacrifices our men and women have made to make this country the greatest country in the world.
They went to Arlington, and they not only that, but they showed the changing of the guard for the unknown soldiers. And that really impressed me so much, because none of the guards wear any insignia on their uniforms because they don't know the rate of the unknown soldiers. So they don't want to outrank them. So the only one that has anything on his uniform is the master sergeant. And everything has to do with 21 steps, which actually represents the 21 gun salute. And when they're changing of the guard, if they see someone there that they know was in the military, they can't acknowledge them, but they scuff their feet to let them know that they acknowledge that somebody in the crowd did serve.
Yeah. Have you been there?
No, sir.
You've never been?
No, sir.
What are you waiting for? You went to Maine. I'll tell you, I've been there a few times, and it is amazing. And I'm one of these, I'm a history nut, and I love going to the museums and stuff, too. So, I've been to the Air Force Museum. I went down to USS Alabama. I was aboard that. It's a dry dock. And I saw the Yorktown up in South Carolina. I can't tell people enough to take your kids and go learn some history.
Yeah, I even got you a history with the Harriet Lane. You didn't know who she was.
No, I didn't. No, tell me about Harriet Lane.
President Buchanan was one of our presidents that never married. So he took his niece, Harriet Lane, and named her the First Lady of our country. And Harriet Lane started the first children's hospital in Delaware, and it is still there today. And while I was on the Harriet Lane, we actually got to go put into port in Delaware and help celebrate the 200th birthday of the Harriet Lane Hospital. And we gave tours and everything the whole day for people coming down to the Harriet Lane.
So that original one that was taken over by the South from the North.
Yes, sir.
Is that still in one piece?
No,
in the
sir.
museum?
No, sir.
Oh,
It hit a coral reef, and she sank.
Okay.
Because it was a steam vessel, and of course it was made of wood, so it just collapsed.
Okay, well,
So
there you go, folks. We got some history. So, anyway, what's one of your most memorable events? This one, and what else?
working for the president
Did you get to meet him?
every day.
Really?
We were out in a nor'easter. We had a 41-foot boat.
This
and
is President Reagan, right?
Bush.
Bush. Okay,
Senior.
first Bush.
First Bush, senior. We were out in a nor'easter. We had 42-foot waves, and we're on a 41-foot boat. And Miss Barbara Bush called us every hour to check on us to make sure we were safe.
Oh,
She didn't just call the boats. She called the boats and asked for each one of us to get on the radio so she would know that we were all safe. And she thanked us for being out there and told us how much we meant to them for just being out on the ocean in this weather.
classy lady.
The whole family was classy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, and whenever he would go out fishing, he would always stop, check with every one of us before he would go out.
So let me ask you now, you were on this cutter, you're 8 years in the Coast Guard. You go fishing in a boat?
Yes, sir.
Do you?
I love being on the ocean.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, sir. There is something about a peace of mind that you get from being out to sea where you're so far out that there's no other light. And when the night sky lights up, it's just, you can't even put it into words. It's like you're looking into the face of God. There's no way that somebody can convince me that a Big Bang Theory put all that stuff up there when you're out there looking at it at night. So it's just so amazing.
Well, I will go into a swimming pool that's up, probably about 5 feet deep. That's about it for me. You know, and of course I go in the bathtub.
I don't swim in the ocean.
No, no, it's not a good idea.
No, because there's fish bigger than me, so I don't want to get it.
Yeah.
So just a little pet peeve of mine.
Yeah. No, I go out on a fishing boat, you know, but I'm not.
I was a rescue swimmer also in the Coast Guard. So,
Oh, yeah?
Yes, sir.
I almost drowned when I was a kid, so I'm, you know. We're miles apart on that one.
We found a body that had been floating and nobody knew anything about it, so we stopped and proceeded to pick it up. And it was swollen up quite large from being in the ocean, and when I got the litter under it, and as soon as it broke free, it exploded.
Yeah.
Yes. And it didn't wash
Move
off.
on with.
It didn't wash off.
We're gonna move on from that subject.
So
So.
people don't understand, in Coast Guard, we do a little bit of everything. And yes, I was in the engine room as a machinery technician, but I was also lead fireman. I was also on the germ welfare in case we got into stuff like that. I was on the crew that went out first in your suits to check for all that kind of stuff, nuclear explosions. So, and I was also part of the damage control team. So you don't just do one job, you do
No, and the
several.
Coast Guard's been involved in everything. Every war we've ever had, the Coast Guard's been involved in, you know.
My dad told me as a child that when he went to Korea, the Coast Guard took him over and the Coast Guard brought him back.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that.
yes.
You know, but so what is Dave Taylor doing nowadays? You're happily retired?
Yes, sir. Forcibly retired.
Well, we're not going to go there.
But yes, I've been labeled as disabled, so.
Yeah, I know you have a condition, and we don't need to discuss it.
No, sir.
But I think it's great what you did for our country with the Coast Guard, and I'm glad you came here to educate some people about the Coast Guard.
And if it came down to it today, I would put my uniform back on and jump right
You
back
had
on
it
the
on
boat.
there at
Yes,
for
sir.
and that's another question I had for you. Did you have to redo the suit, the
No,
uniform?
sir, it's even got my same serial number in it from 1987.
Wow.
So that's the exact suit I got from
I
boot
can't
camp.
say that. But this cutter you were on,
Yes, sir.
was weapons on it. You had a 50 cal? Or
We
what?
had 250 cals, it had a phalanx system on it, and it had a 3.5-inch cannon on the front.
Oh,
We could actually track aircraft from 23 miles away and shoot it out of the sky at 13.
wow, that's amazing. See, everybody thinks you just ride around and
Do nothing.
pick up the dope
Yes, sir.
and.
And we did war
Pull people
games
out
with
of
the
the
Navy.
ocean.
If you notice, there's a big E on the smokestack, and that's what we get when we do our war games with the Navy.
A big E?
Yes, sir.
Where's the big E?
It doesn't show up, but there's a big E that's there. And it gets for the
We'll take your
engineering.
word for it, Dave.
We get
We'll
it for
take-
engineering, so.
We'll take your word for it. Well, I think we're about done because I've got to get to the radio station. And I know you've got a little something to do this afternoon, too. So join me in saying goodbye.
Yes, sir.
And this is how we do it. We look right over at that camera. To all our veterans out there, active military and their families, we salute you for all you do. Till next time.